Welcome back in, everyone, as the consolation match comes to an end here in Paris. The Speed Chess Championship continues on. We are now joined by the winner of that match in pretty dominant fashion. Hikaru, was that a statement win?
Well, I mean, the fact is, 3 of the 4 players here are at a certain level. I mean, maybe yesterday didn't go my way, but I think it showed that, that when Hans says all these things, he's just not at the same level. And ultimately, when you focus on the game and you get away from all the distractions, I think, I proved a point that I was clearly better than Hans, at least in Blitz.
Regardless of all the drama, I'm going to stay right there, because how do you feel the chess went there? Does it vindicate some of your perspective from a couple of years ago? Magnus said yesterday that he said that he thinks Hans is significantly stronger now than he was 2 years ago. What is your perspective on that?
I mean, honestly, having played Hans in some Blitz a couple of years ago, I thought he played much better then than he did in the match today, frankly. So I don't know if I agree with that statement in terms of Blitz. In classical chess, it's probably true, but I definitely didn't feel like Hans was playing all that great today. Maybe in classical he's better, but I thought the Blitz games I played against him in like 2021, 2022, he was a better player than he was today.
I asked Magnus the same question yesterday, so I'm going to ask you as well. You've played a lot of high-stakes events. You've talked very famously about the pressure of the candidates and so on. Were you nervous for today's match?
I think maybe at the start, for a second I was, but honestly, the way the match got off with the win in the first game, I mean, I think it was the second game that I messed up this Italian where I was winning. He played this G4, and because I'm not super young and super fast, I wasn't expecting it, and then I just ended up making the draw. But I wouldn't say I was ever in danger, I felt like, in the first couple of games. And when you aren't in danger, you sort of settle in. And even though I kind of relaxed a little bit at the end of the 5+1, I mean, I definitely should have been ahead by 2, if not 3 points. I always really felt pretty good in general. And 3+1, of course, kind of just ended the match.
Hikaru, you just mentioned it again, that you're not super young, you're not super fast. You've won 5 of these. I mean, you're pretty fast. But let's talk about that. One of the storylines coming to this match was a little bit of a battle of generations. We have you and Magnus, and then you had Alireza Firouzja and Hans Niemann. You yourself made a comment that you played in your first international tournament in France before Hans and Alireza were even born. How do you reflect at this point, not just on your career, but the battle of the generation as you and Magnus are sort of the gatekeepers, like holding the ground as the young players come up? And just talk a little bit about the battle as you see it with the younger generation, like Alireza Firouzja, like Hans Niemann and others.
Well, the first thing is I talk about being old, but then you guys are going to have to give me the footage, because right before the final segment of the 1+1, I set a Puzzle Rush record. I got 60, and I should have had 61, and I think that's recorded in the Zoom call, so I'm going to want that footage. So, like, I talk about being really old, but then I put up a 60, which is an all-time best on one of the breaks. That being said, of course, I think there are quite a few juniors who are really creeping up. I think that Magnus is still probably ahead of them, but I would say that whether it's Alireza, whether it's Gukesh, Arjun also, I mean, I think time is dwindling for those of us who've been around for a long time. And for myself, I was thinking about it during this match quite a bit, because obviously yesterday I got destroyed. It really wasn't close, and it kind of reminded me of when I was younger, and I was a guy who would be able to move really fast with limited time, play very well, and cause problems for the older generation. And it feels to me like it's a bit of a shift. And I think for Magnus, he has a couple more years. For myself, I mean, we'll see how much longer I'm playing. We'll see.
I want to address a very hot subject, and it's not one associated with good emotions, but I do want to hear your take, because over the last few months, one legend, one former world champion has been coming at you a lot. And his name is Vladimir Kramnik, and he didn't stop yesterday. In fact, he went on social media and tried to somehow tie your performance against Firouzja to the rest of the things he's been saying about you. And today he tweeted in the middle of this match something along the lines of, it's going to be a learning experience for Hans to stay less emotional, something along those lines. He didn't have much to say today, so the floor is yours.
I mean, to be honest, first things first. Honestly, I mean, Hans didn't know how to play against these setups. I mean, the guys who played against you in the tournament in New York knew how to play against knight f3, e3, b3 stuff better than Hans did. So that's the first thing I would say in regards to openings. I mean, your opponents there, they knew how to play better than Hans did, frankly.
They did. Don't remind me.
Right. Yeah, maybe it would have been better if you'd played Hans every game there. Yeah, I mean, I think I think at the end of the day, though, I mean, it's very clear that as far as Kramnik's stuff goes, it's complete nonsense. He has a vendetta against chess.com, definitely against myself as well. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But the fact is, most people see the truth, and it's a shame that he's kind of lost his mind. But I think what I would also say is that it can be very difficult once you're past your prime, once you're no longer relevant, to kind of move along. And I think, just broadly speaking, when you look at chess, most people, they struggle. And it's certainly a situation where, because it's a zero-sum game, there's a winner and there's a loser, it's very hard to deal with it. And it's like I could be the same way. I could lose to Ferrugia yesterday and be really upset about it. But actually, I try to look more on the bright side of all these things. And I think back to like the games that I played. A lot of people probably wouldn't know this, but I played Ferrugia in the early days of my stream. I think like late 2018 into early 2019. And I'm sure that no doubt that helped him on some level to improve a little bit quicker. I'm not going to take like tons of credit. Of course, it's not that big of a deal. But still, you really should look at it as something where you have your amount of time when you're very good, when you're at the top. And if you can kind of push chess forward in some way, whatever little way it is, I think that's a good thing. And I'd also say on that note, I mean, it's not 100% set, but I'm probably going to be playing a match against Faustino Oro in the near future. And again, I feel like it's one of those things that I can still do to contribute, to try and give back and help the people who will eventually become much better than I am.
It's amazing. Well, speaking of your match with Ferrugia, someone who has gotten much better, not better than you yet, but he was better than you yesterday. He's playing Magnus, the first time you're not in the final. What kind of chances you give Ferrugia tomorrow? Because this year has been a year where Ali Reza seems to be playing some of the best chess, maybe as good as he was before and leading up into the candidates in Madrid. So your thoughts on Ferrugia, how tough he was yesterday and how tough he will be for Magnus?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this in my interview with Levy, but one of the problems I feel with chess is that everything is dictated by one result. So Ferrugia did terribly in the candidates, lost 30 points, and I think because of that, it's, a lot of people look, or I'm sure he looks at it as a bit of a failure, but in the events that have been less, where there's less pressure for him, he's played very well. He won, I think, one of the Chess Champions Tour events. He played very well against me yesterday, and I mean, I feel like if I look at the juniors, just based on the peak that he had over 2,800, he is the one with the most potential still, I feel. So it should be a very exciting match. And I think also Ferrugia is the one junior who, when you look at bullet, he's extremely good. He's played a lot of bullet chess online, which certainly has helped him. And I think in this format, that could play a huge role in terms of him potentially winning tomorrow.
Okay. Hikaru, honestly, it's amazing to hear you talk about the next generation. I'm not going to lie. You're still world number 2.
Yeah,
you're still.
Let's not forget.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people talk about those sorts of things, but I think I've said it before, and it's a lot of it is about the motivations and whether you enjoy it. And I think for myself, if I look at the matches yesterday or today, honestly, I really couldn't find a lot of motivation to prepare. I did a little bit of preparation, but not a whole lot. And I feel that if it becomes something where I can't really prepare very well, or I don't feel the motivation to prepare, it's not going to be fun, and so I'm probably not going to keep going, is what I would say to all the people out there who think that I'm just making things up. But at least for right now in classical, I mean, I think I still have a little bit left in the tank.
What are you going to do when you are not playing like all of these high stakes? Are you going to garden, learn guitar?
Well, I mean, I think the future is unclear, I would say. But, at the end of the day, I think I'll always be involved with chess. But I think for me, the main things I look at is what can I do to try and give back. And I think also, towards the end of this match, I was thinking a little bit, and sometimes I get emotional about these things, but I would say that I was thinking like at least one time I was able to play in front of the fans, because most of these Speed Chess Championships I haven't. I mean, I know I did in South Africa years ago, but to have the chance to play in front of the fans at least one time was quite nice.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. Great day for you, Hikaru. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a great night. I want to say that we're going to be, originally, we were going to let you and Levy run out to see who had the recap first, but I'm actually going to hold Levy here.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to throw a Hans and Danya interview at some point here. And so I'm kidding, but
I mean, I think it's just ultimately what I would say. I mean, I think I'll be around tomorrow at some point at least to do a short interview or talk to people. But it's just great to see all the fans. I think when you look at chess, generally for myself, having played most of my career with limited audience or no audience at all, frankly, never really feeling that support, it's just great to see chess become a little bit more like a sport. So big shout out to all the fans who showed up yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Well, I am going to I am going to say, and this was not staged, it was kind of funny. I did my first like sit-in with the fans and just turned to two randoms and was like, hey, how'd you get into chess? And it was like, oh, Hikaru's my favorite streamer. Oh, Hikaru's my favorite streamer. So I just want you to know, like, I think the support here and the fans, obviously, it means a lot to hear you say that, and couldn't agree with you more. Congratulations on the match today, and enjoy the night. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. By the way, Magnus joined Danya and Hess today.
I'll join tomorrow. I'll join for a little bit. I'll join for a
I
little
wonder who
bit.
they're going to kick out, me or Mr. Danya.
I think you two doing commentary mode would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd love to have you. That'd be awesome.
Sure, absolutely.
And so hear that, fans. Maybe another treat coming your way. But all right, man, we'll let you go enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Thank you, guys.
Congrats.
Appreciate you one more time.